What's going on, everybody? My name is Monotooi, coach of the Tampa Bay Luxrays, and I am very excited to bring you guys our PPL Division 2 Season 2 team analysis. Now, if you guys remember from last season, all the old videos are still up, but last season we finished with a record of 6-5 with, I believe, a plus 10 or 11 differential. We had the third highest differential in this league. It finished 6th place overall, however, and we were unable to make it in Division 1. However, this year we absolutely are gunning for that Division 1, preferably first place, and preferably for first place, but Division 1 is the big end goal here. Now, there isn't too much I have to talk about before getting to the team, but I will say, just to give you guys some perspective, this season a lot of the prices of the mons went a little bit up. So like the cap for regular Pokemon previously was 15, this season it was up to 20. Megas were generally dropped, like a lot of Megas last time were 20 million, this season they were a little bit less, etc. But also to kind of compensate for the slight inflation of prices, this season each team was given 110 million to spend, rather than last season where we only had 100 million. So that opened up the door for a lot of pretty cool, a little bit easier planning, because with the extra money, we now are able to get things that we wouldn't be able to previously because we couldn't afford them, and etc. Apologize, my phone just went off, ignore that. So, also just give you guys an idea of where I was in the order. I was 11th overall to pick, which I think is pretty cool, because I almost have a wheel pick. Like last season I was 12th, which is cool because I did get a wheel pick. This week I'm 11, so it goes me and then Evelyn. Evelyn gets a wheel pick and then back to me. So a lot of my picks were kind of taken in pairs, if you know what I mean. Like I got two moms that worked well together, that also worked well with the rest of the team, and I think you guys will see that a little bit. So without further ado, I'm going to get into my first mon. Now this is a mon that I wanted from the very beginning. Some people may not see it fit to be a first round pick, but I absolutely do. I think, in my opinion, this is the best electric type in the format. It can defog, it can be very offensive, it's very bulky, gets both Volt Switch and U-turn, can be very good offensively. I think I said that, but it's very powerful. And it's also one of those Pokemon that you don't realize how much it screws you over until you actually have to face it. And that Pokemon is Zapdos. Ripon the Zapdos. The reason why it's named that, I mean, was trying to make a Ripon for it, couldn't, so I just named it Ripon, and, you know, we're gonna work with that. So, as you can see down there, abilities, pressure, Lightning Rod is not released yet, so ignore that, but this thing's stats are pretty impressive. 90 HP, 90 attack, 85 defense, then a big 125 special attack stat, 90 special defense, and base 100 speed. I can slap a Life Orb on this thing. It's a useful Scarfer. Its physical attack is usable. I can run things like Drill Peck to hit like Assault as fighting types. It is very, very bulky. 90, 85, 90 is very bulky. It's got a very good typing. It's a check to Bird Spam, even though pretty much nobody drafted Bird Spam. It's a very good check to fighting types. Pretty good check to ground types. Stone Edge will not be able to knock it out. In a lot of cases, if it's unstabbed, it will not even do a KO. And with pressure, I install anti Stone Edges, meaning we only have 4. Plus, if I roost on their Stone Edge, then it's doing neutral damage rather than super effective damage. It is a very, very good Pokemon, and this is a Pokemon, if you remember from last season on Chi's team, really screwed me over hard. Of course, the Tax also screwed me over in that match, but the Zapdos set he brought was brilliant, and there are plenty of other Zapdos sets that can run through people's teams, and I'm very excited to use this mod. It's got a lot of cool utility. I can run like a weird Charge Beam Baton Pass set, Agility Baton Pass, it gets access to Tailwind. Again, it's just a very, very good Pokemon, and you can really fit it. It's one of those Pokemon you can fit to beat a lot of your opponent's team. You may not be able to build a mon, you may not be able to use a set that beats their entire team, but if there's a specific mon you need to check with this thing is one of the best things to do that. So, that is Zapdos. I'm very excited to have this mon. It is very good, very powerful, very bulky, and it's going to fit nicely with the rest of my team, as you'll see in a minute. So, this is also a mon that I was thinking very highly of, a mon that I really wanted to pick. So Evelyn went with her too. She did not pick this Pokemon. I decided to go with my Mega. This is a very good Mega. It's very powerful, very fast. Some people kind of see it as a little bit overrated. I do not see it as such. I see it as a mon with a lot of potential, a mon that has shown that it's done very well. and a mon that I think is very strong in the format because it is very difficult to switch into, and there are some cool little things you can do with it as well. And the Mega that I decided to go with, also something that goes very well with Zapdos, is Megaloplug, PG-13, the low plenty. I was trying to name it after a porn star, but I couldn't, so it's just named PG-13 because we keeping it PG-13 in here. Not really, fuck you. So, Megaloplug. Abilities, as you can see, Scrappy, meaning I can hit ghost types with fighting and normal type moves. This is going to be very useful for multiple different situations. I can hit things like Golurk I can hit things like Golurk with a high jump kick. I can hit Gengar and one-shot it with Return, even though Gengar wasn't drafted, so that's irrelevant. Cofagrigus can switch in once, but it's going to have to take a high jump kick, and then I have to switch out. It's just a very nice ability. Also, the big thing is I'm not afraid of spamming high jump kick unless I'm fearing Protect, because it will hit everything, and as long as I don't miss, I will not be taking that crash damage. So that is why I have that. As you can see down here, its stats, 65 HP, 136 attack, which is very powerful, 94 defense, 54 special attack, 96 special defense, and 135 speed. Its defenses are not bad. 94 defense, 96 special defense is not frail. They can live a decent amount of hits. I'm not going to switch it into too many things, but you know, if there's a knockoff coming my way, and I feel like this is a good offensive switch, I can make that switch. It is also extremely fast. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is the second fastest thing in the entire league right now. Nobody drafted Mega Alakazam or Mega Aerodactyl, and I know Paul has Excelgor, which I believe is the only thing that's faster than this, so I do have the second fastest Pokemon in the league, so that's really cool. Fake Out is very nice, especially Stab Fake Out. Like I said, high jump kick hurts very, very much. Stab Return is also very nice. It's got a pretty nice physical move pretty good physical move coverage. I believe it gets all the elemental punches. I know it gets Ice and Fire Punch. I think it gets Thunder Punch as well. It's got some cool gimmicks as well. I can run Baton Pass with it, Power Up Punch, Baton Pass potentially, also just Baton Pass to gain momentum for myself. Also gets cool little things like Healing Wish, Encore, etc. So I can run a little bit more of a gimmicky set, but it is a very nice, almost like a wall breaker. There are certain bulky Pokemon that just cannot switch into this thing because of its ability, because of its power, because of its offensive move pool. It's a very nice Pokemon to have, and I'm very happy that I have a very fast Pokemon, forces people to run Scarfers, etc. It's a very, very strong Pokemon, and I'm very happy to have it. Its role will likely be similar to Mega Aerodactyl of last season, be really fast, hit things really hard, and yeah, it's just a really cool Pokemon, and I'm very glad I was able to get it. Also, again, synergizes nicely with my Zapdos, Lopunny being weak to fighting, Zapdos being able to resist fighting, this thing being weak to flying, Zapdos resisting flying, etc. So again, very nice Pokemon. Zapdos being weak to Stone Edge, this thing being resistant to rocks. And yeah, that is why I picked Megalopunny. It's a very nice Mega, happy to have it. And now it's time to move on to the next pick. As you guys remember from last season, if you guys did watch last season, I was very keen on getting Nidoking a little bit late. Unfortunately, Juan picked it up. Later on in the season, Juan did drop it, and I went kinda anal, dropping Chandelure and Sneasel in order to pick it up, and then trading it away 2 weeks later for Alakazam. So, that was a little bit strange, but this season I decided I wanted to pick one up a little bit earlier. Pick up a Nido, that is, a little bit earlier, and it came down to my choice between Nidoking and Nidoqueen, because both were available at the time, and I went with Nidoqueen. Now, I do kind of wish I actually picked Nidoking, and I'll go into that a little bit later, but this I am still totally fine with. Nidoqueen, base 90 HP, 92 attack, 87 defense, 75 special attack, 85 special defense, 76 speed. With the Life Orb Sheer Force, this thing can hit very, very hard, can also be a pretty good wall breaker. With its move pool, it is very, very limited on switch-ins. Can be very bulky. This is a very safe switch-in to most electric types, like HP Ice will not to a KO this thing if I'm running even a little bit of HP investment. Of course, no recovery is kind of unfortunate, but again, it's also going to be... It also synergizes well with Zapdos, because Zapdos being weak to rocks and rock type moves, this thing resisting it, etc. Also goes well with Lopunny, because I do have my second fighting resist now. This is a very This is also a very reliable Stealth Rocker. It will pretty much take any hit and then get up Stealth Rocks. Can do the same with Toxic Spikes, and I do like having multiple forms of hazards on my teams. So this is going to be a very nice bond for me. I can set up Toxic Spikes, set up Stealth Rocks, can be bulky with rocks, can be offensive with rocks, can just be full out offensive for attacks. 76 speed is enough to make it a potential Scarfer. Isn't going to hit quite as hard as Nidoking, but it is still going to be a usable Scarfer. And it's just a very nice bond to have. Again, I kind of regret picking this over Nidoking, but again, I will go into that a little bit later. You'll kind of just see my team is bulky enough and I need the extra bulk, and I would prefer to have the wall breaking capabilities of Nidoking, but not a huge deal. We'll get into that later. By the way, I apologize if there is a lot of cutting in this video. My asthma has kind of been acting up and I'm having a little trouble breathing, so I'm just going to be kind of cutting in and out here. But anyway, the next Pokemon I decided to pick up was something that I was really looking into. First of all, I wanted a bulky Psychic because I do have Megaloplug and Nidoqueen that are weak to it. Zapdos is not resisted, so I'm kind of weak to Psychic types at the moment. This is, I think, one of the most underappreciated Pokemon, both in the format and in standard play. A lot of people have been giving it its credit, the credit that it deserves recently, but I still think it can be undervalued as a Pokemon. This is a mon that can win games on its own, being bulky as hell, setting up Calm Mind and sweeping. This is a mon that is an excellent Trick Room sweeper. You probably know what it is by this point. It is Reuniclus. Fetus the Reuniclus because it looks like some sort of weird baby thing covered in jello, but that's why it's named Fetus. Overcoat. Useless. Probably never gonna use that, but it's two very good abilities. Magic Guard, meaning it is immune to things like Stealth Rocks, Toxic Damage, Burn. It's a very nice Scald switch in, especially since I do have Nidoqueen, which is weak to it, and Lopunny that doesn't appreciate getting burned. Having a Reuniclus that can, or having a Pokemon that can just take a burn, no problem, is pretty nice. Regenerator also can be very useful, can switch it in, take a hit, switch it out, get my health back, and deal with things that way. It's also going to be a mystery whether it's up to my opponent. They may waste a turn finding out if I'm Regenerator or not by clicking Toxic, and if I'm Magic Guard, they just wasted a turn, which is really cool. This thing is bulky as hell. 110 HP, 75 defense, 85 special defense. Unless you have Stab Dark moves, Stab Ghost, you're not going to be able to knock this out in one hit. And even then, this thing will happily take a non-stab knockoff. Not happily necessarily, but it can take non-stab knockoffs. It's not 2 KO'd after you knock off the item. It's a very good bulky Pokemon. And then that base 125 special attack with a Life Orb, this thing can hit insanely hard. That is also what makes it a very dangerous setup sweeper with Calm Mind, because you set up a few Calm Minds and suddenly your opponent has run out of switch-ins. And like I said, because this thing is so bulky on the physical side as well as the special side, it's going to be very, very difficult to take it out on the physical side. You need Stab Knockoff, you need Stab Crunch, etc. Also, with its, even though it does have very poor speed, again, that makes it a very nice Trick Room super. You set up the Trick Room and things with this thing's move pool, it's very hard to switch in. This thing gets access to things like Psychic, Psyshock, etc., Focus Blast, Energy Ball. It's a good utility mon as well with things like Thunder Wave and Encore. It can be a very, very dangerous Pokemon. This is a Pokemon that if your team struggles with it enough, or if you don't prep for it enough, it will clean 6-0 you. It has that capability. It just destroys opposing teams. It deals with offense, it deals with stall beautifully. One of the big reasons that I love this thing so much was early X and Y RU, everyone and their mother was running the Alomomola Amoonguss core, and this thing just beat both of them. It did not care. It just beat stall. This thing is an absolute stall killer. Unless you trick this thing of Scarf, you're not going to kill it. You're not going to stop it from setting up. So it's just an amazing Pokemon, and I'm very happy I picked it this early. Some people may not see it as a 4th round pick. I absolutely do. It's an incredible Pokemon. So, this was the end of my 4th round pick. I did have to wait a while to get my 5th round pick, and I was kind of nervous that this next mon would get taken. Earlier in the draft, Ruby had taken Excadrill, and then later on was sniped of Hippowdon. But because of that, I figured he might want to take this. It didn't really make sense at the time because this would be his third fighting weakness in a row, second Blonde fighting weakness. But I was a little bit afraid because Sand Excadrill makes a lot of sense, and you probably figure out what it is by now, but I really wanted, and I got, Tyranitar. Reptar, the Tyranitar, all caps. The caps are very important. Abilities in Sandstream and Unnerve, probably going to be running Sandstream most of the time, but in case I don't, Unnerve is an ability better in League format than it is in Standard, because a lot of people are going to be running those resistant berries. Not that I'm going to use it often, but Sandstream, this works beautifully with Megalopunny and Reuniclus. Now, before I go into exactly why I picked this, you probably noticed the combination of Megalopunny, Reuniclus, and Tyranitar. If you watch Division 1 and you watch Necrostevo, he had these three exact mons. I really love this core. Tyranitar, Reuniclus, Megalopunny. I think they work beautifully together, so I kind of built a team around them that I think works a little bit better than what he did. No disrespect to his team at all, again, I did love his team, but I built my own version of the team around this core. So, getting into its stats, 100 HP, 134 attack, 110 defense, 95 special attack, and 100 special defense with 61 speed. Its stats are absolutely incredible, no denying that. It is fast enough to be a usable Scarfer. With base 61 speed, with a Jolly Choice Scarf, I will outspeed base 115s. I will be outspeeding things like Raikou, I'll outspeed things like Superior, etc. This thing is insanely bulky. 100 HP, 110 defense, 100 special defense, and special defense is boosted by the sand. This thing is going to be taking unstat hidden power fightings. It's bulky enough to take some Mach Punches without prior damage. It is so bulky. And with base 134 attack stat, it's going to hit very hard as well. It is very difficult to switch into with its move pool as well. It's got Stone Edge Crunch, it's a very good Pursuit Trapper. Big reason I wanted this thing was for its Pursuit Trapping for Megalopunny, because Megalopunny is walled by both Psychics, and Tyranitar does not care about your Psychic type. Throwing Assault Vest on this thing, it's going to be taking Focus Blast from Alakazam. It's just so good. It's such a good Pokemon. It also, my team is not weak to Sand at all. Like, Nidoking is immune to it. Reuniclus with Magic Guard is immune to it. A couple other of my picks later on that I'll get into are immune to it, so I don't mind the Sand at all. It's a very nice Pokemon, and fighting weakness I don't really care about, even though it is my second one with Megalopunny. I have Reuniclus, I have Nidoking, I have Zapdos. I don't care about fighting types at this point. So this is an absolutely great Pokemon to have. Also, I didn't mention this before, potential setup sweeper, gets access to Rock Polish, gets access to Dragon Dance. Its special move pool is definitely usable with a 95 special attack stat. It gets Fire Blast, Ice Beam. It has a beautiful move pool, and it's never going down in one hit unless you hit it with a stab fighting move, unless you hit it with a stab earthquake, maybe a very powerful bug move. It's not going to be going down in one hit. It's very bulky, very powerful, and fast enough to the point where I'm not concerned about it. Next up is a Pokemon that I was also looking into for its utility. My team at this point, other than Megalopunny, is pretty slow. We got Zapdos at base 100, and we got Nidoqueen 76, we got Reuniclus at 30, and then we got Tyranitar at 61. Again, not terrible speeds of Reuniclus, even though it's purposely done like that, but I could use potential Tailwind support. I also don't have a Fairy yet at this point. I would like a Grass type as well, just because I do kind of enjoy Grass types. This is a mon that can be very annoying depending on the team you're going up against, has the potential to be offensive, and it's a mon that is fast in itself. Speed is important, forces people to run random Scarfers, forces people to run more speed investment on things just so that they can guarantee to outspeed this thing. And so, with my 6th pick of the draft, I went with Caught on a Whim. I think that's a phrase, the Whimsicott. Now, this is a mon, does have a 4 times weakness to poison, but again, I don't care about poison. Tyranitar resisted, Nidoqueen resisted 4 times, and Reuniclus deals with it offensively. So, Infiltrator and Prankster, 2 very nice abilities. And Chlorophyll, probably never going to use it fast enough, and I don't see this thing being a Sunsweeper. But again, it's a very nice utility. Base 116 speed, going to be outspeeding things like Raikou, Severe, same things that a Scarf Tyranitar would add speed. Its bulk is not great, base 60 HP, 85 defense, 75 special defense. Definitely usable to switch into certain things, but again, not super bulky. Again, this is just my utility. This is an excellent utility mod. It gets Prankster Cotton Guard, which can be useful. It gets Prankster Stun Spore, which is also very nice. Not quite as good as Prankster T-Wave because it can miss, but again, my team is slow. Being able to paralyze things is going to be very nice. Can also paralyze ground types with this, so that's pretty cool. Fairy coverage is also pretty nice because actually nothing on my team currently gets fairy coverage, so that's going to be very nice, especially Fairy Stab, even though it's not going to be hitting super hard. Get some cool things like Memento. This is a Prankster Tailwind user again. Team is slow, Tailwind is very nice. It's just an excellent Pokemon. My team currently kind of deals with its weaknesses, like Zapdos deals with the Steel types, as well as Nidoking offensively, so it's just a nice Pokemon. The only thing I don't really have a switch into yet that this thing is weak to is Ice types, which I will take care of with the next pick. If I can trade this for a different fairy, I may do so, just because I did pick up another grass type later on, but again, I am very happy to have this thing. With the move coverage it gets, it can potentially be offensive, it can gain me momentum with U-turn, or Memento like I said earlier. Again, there's not too much else to say about it. It's a very nice utility mod. If I need certain utility, I'm going to bring it, and it's going to do what I need it to do. So, next up, this is a Pokemon that I was looking into for... Oh, before I continue, I want to point out, the only time I really got sniped, quote-unquote sniped, during this draft was directly before my Tyranitar pick. I was originally going to go with Tyranitar and then Fortress, because at this point, if you notice, I only have one Defogger and one Hazard Remover in Zapdos, and I don't want that being locked into my Hazard Remover because it's a very versatile mod. But I decided to wait on Hazard Removal a little bit later, and I picked up Tyranitar and then Whimsicott. But anyway, next Pokemon, Bulky Water type. I have an Ice weakness on my team. I have 3 things weak to Ice, I have nothing that resists it, and only Tyranitar really deals it off. Well, Lopunny also deals it offensively, but a lot of random things get Ice Beam, so it's kind of just an issue. Ice Punch, etc. Ice is a little bit of an issue. I also would like a Ghost type, because I like Spin Blocking. Spin Blocking is really cool. And again, just to deal with any potential fighting types, even though I do not have a weakness to it at all at this point, because everything other than the 2 things weak to it resists it, but I really like this Pokemon. It has access to instant recovery, it can status certain things, not a fast taunter, but it does get access to taunt, can taunt other bulkier waters. I decided to pick up Jellicent. Now, Jellicent is a mon I have on the SEL team that Ellie originally drafted, and I've kind of grown to really like it. I haven't used it all that often, but it's extremely bulky, it's a very nice spin blocker, it can take knockoffs relatively well, with its base 100 HP and 70 defense. It can run also a Culver Berry to weaken it, and then it's not to KO by a second knockoff, can recover off damage, can burn something. It's a very nice Pokemon to have. Its special defense is very, very high with base 105 special defense. Its special move pool is actually pretty nice. If I want to be cheeky, you can run like a Scarfed Water Spout variant, even though it's kind of weird. This thing does get access to things like Energy Ball, Giga Drain, Ice Beam, Scald of course. It can run like Will-O-Wisp Hex Set. Like I said, it does get access to Taunt, Recover. Its abilities in Curse Body and Water Absorb can both be very good and very annoying. Water Absorb, especially the Scald immunity, or the Water immunity are just nice in general. The Curse Body can be very annoying if my opponent doesn't have, let's say like they don't have a Water type on their team. I can run Curse Body, potentially get some hacks there, and just be extremely annoying. Like if you switch in something and you hit me with a Thunderbolt per se, and you can 2 KO me, and then you see Curse Body disable Thunderbolt, you're going to be kind of annoyed because then you're forced to switch. It just all sorts of problems. So there's that. 60 speed, not terrible, but enough for me to be able to speed creep other bulky waters, like things like Vaporeon are only 65, I believe. Alomomola is 65, even though I don't think it got picked up. So again, this is a good Pokemon to have. It's very bulky, it synergizes with my team very nicely, and it actually synergizes beautifully with another mon that I picked up later on that I will get into when I get there. So that is Jellicent, Ocean Man the Jellicent. So yeah, we got that. Next is the time where I realized, okay, time to stop getting all these really cool things. I need a spinner. I really like having a defogger and a spinner. I was going to settle with the defogger if I could find one, but I realized that this was still available, and it was between this mon, Torkoal, and Cryogonal. Cryogonal, although I kind of wanted to take it because Freeze Dry is cool, and it's kind of a cool Pokemon, I didn't want it. It's weak to rocks, you flick it and it dies on the physical side, bulky on the special side, but it's got like no special move pool, so I was considering it, but I decided to go against it. Torkoal is also okay, but no reliable recovery and weak to rocks, really slow, not powerful. I kind of wanted it, like, they're usable, they're definitely usable, and they're definitely for other people, and someone did actually pick up Cryogonal, but I decided to go with a better Pokemon, a Pokemon that synergized with my Tyranitar a little bit, potential Rain Sweeper, old Scyther, the Kabutops. So, I was a little bit wary at first about drafting 2 water types in a row, but this does also give me a second Ice Resist. Again, in the sand, rock types special defense are boosted, so that's really cool for a synergy with my Tyranitar, so thrives in 2 weathers. Swift Swim, like I said, potential Swim Sweeper. Weak Armor, also a very nice ability, could be a very good suicide lead. Lead with a Focus Sash, take a physical hit, set up rocks, and then you're able to hit something else back very hard. Base 115 attack is very nice. 105 defense is respectable. I can switch it in on physical fire hits, can switch it in on certain things. 70 special defense, and then 80 speed. Not super great, but 80 speed is usable, definitely usable, same as Mamoswine. And it does have priority in Aqua Jet, so it's definitely a pretty cool Pokemon. Again, the main thing I picked this up for is the fact that it is a second Rapid Spinner that kind of synergizes with my Defogger. It's definitely weaker hazard removal than last season, because last season I had Excadrill as a Rapid Spinner, I had Togetic as a Defogger, I had Aerodactyl as a potential Defogger, but I'm still fine with this. I'm still totally fine with this. It's a good hazard mover, and with the amount of hazards that I have, I can potentially pressure my opponent to defog, which is really cool. It's just a Pokemon I'm happy to have. And would I have picked it if I had another spinner already? Probably not. But you know what? It has more utility outside of just a Rapid Spin, and it's going to do a job fine as a Rapid Spinner. It's fast enough to outspeed bulky things before it dies. It's usable. It's definitely usable, and I think it's going to do okay work for me. Also, something I want to point out, there were also other spinners available. I think like almost all of the Hitmons were available at this point. Like Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee were available. Maybe not Hitmonlee, but Hitmonchan was available, which I do like a lot. But like I already have made Lopunny, and that kind of not worth it. So decided to go with this, and I do think this was, of the spinners left, I think this was the best choice for my team. So next up, we have our 9th pick of the draft. This is a mon that I had no intention to get from the beginning. Kind of forgot it existed for a while, and at this point, I am the type of player where I do like the ability to hazard stack my opponent. I apologize that I'm playing with my hair, but it's in the way. I like to hazard stack my opponent a lot, so I wanted spikes. At this point, I was going to go for something like a Selgor. Selgor is really fast. I really like a Selgor a lot. I used it decently in a couple NPL matches that I had never uploaded, so they basically didn't exist. But I really like Excelgor. I'm good with it. It's got some cool gimmicks, fast spikes, Final Gambit's cool, but Paul decided to take that, and I was kind of stuck for a little bit, like, damn, do I get Omastar? Do I get another Fossil and another Water type, another Rock Water type? But then I saw this, and I was like, it's a Steel type that I'm missing because Fortress was taken. It spikes, synergizes beautifully with Jellicent. I'm gonna get Ferrothorn. So I got Ferrothorn. It's a very nice late round pick, I think. Named my family because both Ferrothorn and my family are full of pricks, so there's that. Iron Barb's very nice ability. You switch this thing, and even if it dies on the first hit, you're getting off some damage on your opponent, which is really good. Now, a lot of people see this Mon as not being good because it is extremely slow. It's got the 4 times weakness, but honestly, I can look past the 4 times weakness if the Mon is good enough, and I think Ferrothorn is good enough. It does everything I need it to do. The spikes is not set up fodder because it does get a pretty powerful Gyro Ball. Can slow things down with T-Wave. It's a very nice Pokemon in that regard, and Unstab Hidden Power. This thing lives Unstab Fire Blast from things like Garchomp and Tyranitar. It's not going to go down to an Unstab Hidden Power Fire. Base 74 HP, 131 defense, 116 special defense. Again, the slow speed allows more powerful Gyro Balls, 94 attack, 74 HP. This is also potential. This is honestly a pretty decent Tricker and Sweeper, if I'm being completely honest. Life Orb Gyro Ball hurts really badly. So there is that. It is also another Stealth Rocker, which I do like having a lot of Stealth Rockers. It fits my team very nicely. Leech Seed is going to be cool. Like I said, team slow, Thunder Wave going to be nice. And it synergizes almost perfectly with Jellicent. Jellicent weak to Electric, this thing resisting Electric. Jellicent weak to Grass, this thing 4 times resisting Grass. This thing being weak to Fire and Fighting. Fire 4 times, the Jellicent resisting both of those, will immune to Fighting, resisting the Fire typing. They synergize very nicely together. Even when someone wants to hit Jellicent with a knockoff, I switch into this thing, they're knocking off my item, but they're also taking that Iron Barb's damage, and that's going to be really cool. If I'm able to get like Rocks, Spikes up as well, and then deal Iron Barb's damage to this thing, I'm going to be able to sweep with my other Pokemon very easily, and that's something that's really cool to me. So, again, a Pokemon I didn't anticipate getting at all, but I saw it was there, and I jumped on it, because I honestly like Ferrothorn a lot. It has its role in OU, and it's going to have a role, and it's going to have a very important role on my team in this league format. So, at this point in time, I had used up almost all of my money. I had used 106 million, so I had $4 million left. 4 million quid, or whatever Europeans use for money. At this point, I looked at what I needed. There wasn't too much that I immediately saw. I have all my hazards aside from Sticky Web, which I don't really care about. I have my immunities, I have my offense, I have my bulk. I have my offense, I have my bulk, I have enough Stealth Rockers, I have my Spiker here. There really wasn't too much I was thinking that I needed, and then I looked at my team, and I saw I don't have a Fire type. Fire types are cool. I don't necessarily have a Fire weakness, because I do have this thing to Quadresist. I have Kabutops to Quadresist, I have Jellicent, I have the Tyranitar, but nothing's really stopping my opponent, other than Reuniclus, for going for something like a Will-O-Wisp, because, if my Lopunny gets burned, that's unfortunate. If Zapdos gets burned, etc. If Zapdos gets burned, Tyranitar gets burned. Really, if anything gets burned on my team, that's other than Reuniclus, it's kind of bad. I don't have a Cleric on this team. I don't have any Wish support. And then this Pokemon came to mind, and I was like, huh, you're kind of bad, but you do everything I need you to do. Welcome aboard, Flareon. Flareon's a Pokemon. Flareon's interesting. Flareon's very interesting. Base 65 HP, not that great. 130 attack, which is definitely usable, very strong. 60 defense, so it's kind of frail on the physical side. Then 95 special attack makes it very useful for random hidden powers. 110 special defense, which is very nice. It's actually very specially bulky. And then 65 speed, kind of unfortunate. It's, there's like a scale from, good offensive fire types. Flareon's definitely down on like the lower spectrum of the scale, but I still think this thing's got a lot of potential. It is a slow baton pass user, which, as you guys know from last season, I do love a lot. It's a big thing that I used on Togetic. It can baton pass potential flame charge, and getting like a +1 speed Tyranitar, Nidoking, etc. can be very scary. its special bulk, again, like I said, is very nice. I can switch this thing, I can use it as kind of like a pivot. Take a special hit, they switch out, I baton pass into something that threatens their team. It gets access to Heal Bell, which is something I didn't have on this team at all, so even though it's not the best at it, because it's on the physical side, etc., but it still works. And it hits hard. Guts boosted 130 base player billets. Hurts. Hurts a lot, you know? Like, there isn't too much that wants to switch in on that, and a lot of the things that do, being like rock types, things like that, are hit very hard by superpower. That's unfortunately like the limit of Flareon's move pool, but I think it has potential. I really think this thing has a decent amount of potential. Am I wrong? Maybe. Another big selling point on this was Flashfire in combination with Ferrothorn is actually pretty cool. I have a pretty interesting Fire Water Grass core going on. I got Jellicent, Ferrothorn, and Flareon. Within that core, I have 2 immunities, the Water immunity and the Fire immunity. I have the 4 times weakness and then the immunity here. It's just, I don't know, I kind of like it on this team a lot. It fills every hole, fills almost every hole that I immediately suffered from. So to that, Flareon, I thank you, and welcome to the team. And I'm probably not going to use it often, but it's there, and it's got potential, and I'm hoping to unleash that potential. So I've kind of been rambling on a while. I do apologize. I haven't eaten in a little while. There's a blizzard outside, and the one facility kind of near me is open, but I don't feel like walking there because it's cold and I don't have snow boots. But that's fine. I'm able to survive off a container of Twizzlers for now, so that's good. Thank you guys very much for watching. This is the new Tampa Bay Luxrays. There are a lot of scary teams in our division. There's not a single team that I look at and I'm like, ooh, this is gonna be easy, or whatever. Every team is scary. This is gonna be tough. I feel like this is gonna be tough, but I really feel like we can get into Division 1. I really wanted it last season. We came up just short at the very end, and now I'm really hungry for that Division 1. And now I'm very hungry for that D2 title and for that transition into Division 1. So thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you guys are looking forward to the matches. I believe they start uploading on February 9th. So my name is Monotooi, coach of the Tampa Bay Luxrays, and I'll see you next time.